All right, let's talk about AI. Most of us think of it as this giant brain that knows everything, right? You ask it a question, it spits out an answer. But what if I told you that for real, in-depth research, knowing everything is actually a huge problem?
And this really gets to the heart of it. A general AI has been trained on, well, the entire internet. But for your specific project, who cares if it knows about 18th century poetry? What you really need is an AI that knows your data inside and out. Your interviews, your survey results, your documents. That's the big difference we're talking about today.
So what actually happens when you try to use one of these all-knowing AIs for very specific research? Well, you stumble into this really sneaky and misleading problem. It's something researchers are starting to call the hallucinated consensus.
So what is a hallucinated consensus? Basically, it's what happens when a general AI takes all the messy, complicated, and varied human responses you get in research and just smooths them out. It kind of guesses what the most average answer would be, which ends up creating this false idea that everyone agrees when, in reality, they don't. It literally flattens the interesting textures you're trying to find.
And look, this isn't just some theory. It's a real, measurable issue. A fantastic study from Green Book actually put this to the test. They directly compared what general AI models said against what real humans said.
Which, of course, leads to the big question. We know there's a problem, but how bad is it? How far off are these general models from what's actually in the data? The answer, it turns out, is pretty shocking.
Okay, just look at this chart. This tells the whole story. The study found that general large language models were off from the real human responses by almost 0.9 standard deviations. In statistics, that is a massive gap. But then, look at the other bar, the grounded models, the ones that could only look at the specific data provided. Their deviation was just 0.07. I mean, the difference is just staggering.
And that's the bottom line here. This isn't a tiny error. This is, fundamentally, the difference between a complete guess and a real, valid insight that you can actually trust and build on. And for anyone doing serious research, that's everything.
So, this is where things get exciting. We've seen the problem, so let's talk about the solution. Tools like NotebookLM are built from the ground up to avoid this exact trap, and they do it by using what's called a grounded AI model.
The magic behind this is a technology called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG for short. Now, that's a fancy name, but the idea is actually super simple and powerful. Instead of the AI pulling answers from the entire messy internet, it's basically locked inside a room with only the documents you give it. Your sources become its entire world.
So how does it work in practice? It's incredibly straightforward. First, you upload your sources. Maybe it's 100 pages of interview transcripts, whatever you have. The AI then reads that material and synthesizes insights directly from it. And, this is the best part, for every single thing it tells you, it also shows you exactly where it found that information. And that's the absolute key. A grounded model isn't speculating. It's not trying to guess what people might say. It is synthesizing. It's connecting the dots, pulling out themes, and organizing the information that's already there, right in your documents. This brings us to what is, for my money, the most important feature for any researcher: accountability. I like to think of it as intelligence with receipts. And here's the payoff. Because the AI is only working with your documents, every summary, every theme, every single insight it gives you can be traced right back to the source. You get a citation, you can click on it and see the exact words it's referencing. There's no black box, no mystery. It's all right there.
So what does this all mean for your work? Well, it means you get a structured analysis of your data, not just some AI's opinion about it. It means your qualitative data, the actual voices of the people you talk to, stays right at the center of everything. And maybe most importantly, it keeps you, the human researcher, in the driver's seat, using AI as an incredibly powerful tool, not as a replacement for your own thinking.
So, I'll just leave you with this idea. The next time you sit down to use AI for your research, rethink the whole question. Stop asking it to imagine the world for you. Instead, give it your world, your documents, your data, and ask it to help you understand it.